So we've let our traditional baguettes rest for 15 minutes. I'm going to dust the top of these because that's the side I'm going to put down on the table. So once again, trying not to put flour all over the place, but just where it's needed. We're going to use the couche for allowing the bread to proof on. And couche is a non-absorbent canvas type of material that's made with flax. And this is fantastic because the bread doesn't stick to it. So you don't need to flour it or anything like that. You can put flour on here just for looks if you want to have a certain look. You don't have to have this cloth. You can also use a kitchen, like a tea towel, but you have to put rice flour on something like that or your bread will stick to it. Even if you put flour on it, flour will absorb with the bread and potentially can even stick it more. So couche is worth getting if you can find it. It's pretty well, any place that you get your bread stuff, you can find it, and it's really nice to have. It's also what's used to line baskets, is the same kind of cloth, proofing baskets. You can just put baguette right on a board here, right on the piece of parchment paper. That is completely fine. The bread will not have the same roundness, especially these doughs that these 3 doughs that we're making in this class are kind of on the soft side. I tend to make soft doughs. They have really nice open hole structure and tend to have good volume. But if they're not kind of supported by the cloth, they tend to be a little bit flatter, but it's not a big deal at all. It's still going to be a wonderful piece of bread either way. And so I'm going to go ahead and take this off the board. I'm kind of careful to remove it from the board with a scraper, and I bring it over here, and I did a little shaping demo with a cloth that you can see on a video below, and I'm putting my hands in the flour here to get them kind of cured, and I'm going to fold this dough by picking it up like it's a piece of clothing that I'm going to put on a clothesline and folding it over about 2/3 of the way and just gently pushing down and then getting my hands off. I'm going to turn that around and go the other way. I'm going to just take a little bit at a time. You don't have to do it all at once. And do same thing going this direction. Okay, very gently, not very much work there at all. Once again, my hands are sticking. Once I feel my fingers sticking a little bit, I'm going to get a little flour on my fingers. And now I'm going to push right along this seam. There's a seam right along here. I'm going to push my thumb right on that seam and attach this side of the dough to that side of the dough while stretching the dough kind of by pushing my thumb in there. And you can see I've almost got the length I totally want already. And if it's sticking to my table a little bit, I just use the scraper like that. And I'm almost done with my length. All I have to do is roll this 1 or 2 times. The Polish has made this extremely extendable. It's very soft, very easy to make that shape. And then I just put it down. I'm putting it down seam side up. The reason for that is the side, if I'm putting it on a parchment paper, I'm going to put it seam side down, by the way. But if I'm putting it on a cloth like this, I'm putting it seam side up because the side that's touching the cloth is going to have a texture that helps when it comes time to scoring the bread. It's going to be a little bit, grab the knife a little bit better. The side that's exposed to the air is going to be a lot stickier and softer, and the knife tends to stick a little bit. So here we go again. I'm just picking it up by the shirt, kind of bringing it over quickly, barely touching this bread, a little bit at a time, pulling it over. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and push my thumb right in the center and get it out of the way before this part of my hand is touching the dough. And we have this piece of dough here, and we just simply roll. It's really important to roll. It's very common to see people kind of doing this. And it doesn't make a round piece, it actually kind of flattens it. In order to make it round, it needs to roll. So completely all the way around. Not much pressure is needed, seam side up. And then I'm putting about 5 inches of cloth in between, lift it up, and have a nice area. This bread's going to about double in size. And you can see the length of my baguette's a little bit different. All I do is bring this one in a little bit. Then they're the exact same lengths. Home ovens, it's hard to have a 55 centimeter loaf of bread or something like that, but I like the shape of the baguette. I like the width of the baguette, and if I want it to be smaller, I simply at this time use my scraper and guillotine the piece and cut it in half, make sure it's not stuck to the cloth. And if I want it to be 4 pieces, I just guillotine it like that. And quite frankly, if I want it to be rolls, little nice French bread rolls, I can do it into 8ths. So this is a really simple way of having the size that you want after you've shaped. And then I just give those guys a nice home to sleep in themselves. And here we go again. Push down, bring it over. I'm putting it up in the flour that was up there because it's a little sticky. Pulling a little over at a time. And then I'm going to do my little thumb trick. My fingers are sticking a little bit. I just put my hands in the flour and then clap it off, just enough flour to cover my hands. Pushing my thumb right down the same seam. And then just a very gentle, but making sure it rolls. And really, I should get it all done in about one pass. I should just get over get the whole length I need in one pass, and then put it down gently. So I'm cutting this into 4ths after it's been shaped, and then giving them a nice, comfortable place to grow, proof in, and then covering them gently with the cloth. Setting the timer. I'm always a little conservative, so these are going to be ready in about an hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes. I'm going to set a timer for 50 minutes just to look at them. It's a little chilly here in California today, so they're probably going to be closer to the hour and 10. If it was really warm around here, it'd be closer to 50 minutes. So.